Look out, Thomas feeding Rodman. Oh, nice. Warren fills the lane. Rodman fights for the offensive rebound, and he's got it. Isaiah Thomas and Doc Rivers get tangled up.
This always happens with this team.
Well, this team plays that way. They play a very physical brand of ball.
Trophy tasted good, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Detroit Pistons, back when no one stormed the Palace, and as we look back, 3 straight finals appearances, the back-to-back NBA championships, 89-90. Fewest opponent points in the top 3, 87-89, and look at that record from 1987 to 1990. In short, they were just a tremendous team, a team that loved one another and didn't always love you when you came to visit. That's for sure. We're on the court here, and it's a good place to be because we talk about Piston basketball, as you saw in that video, very physical. It was defense, Rick, and I'm going to flip the tables on you a little bit here.
Okay.
I want you to talk about the Piston backcourt defense then and what it was like when what you saw on the floor out in front of you.
Well, one thing about it, these 3 guys that we had, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Vinnie Johnson, they executed the game plan every time. If the guard, I'm going to force this guard left, they would force him left, and he knew he had help. But if it was in pick and roll situations, we all knew that we're going to blitz. Either we're going to blitz or we're going to red, we're going to hedge and get back to our man. So we're very disciplined. And those guards, I tell you, they were scrappy, always on the floor, always fighting. Every time you're on the floor, we had total team rebounding. And that was nice because if I took Isaiah's man, he knew to go back and help my man out, so it was just great and comforting while we were on the court.
Yeah, I always called him Gentleman Joe Dumars. Well, what a tenacious defender. Talk about him, Rick, in terms of his on-ball defense for you.
You know, Joe had the responsibility to check the biggest, the scorer. And that was, it all depends on if it was a point guard or if it was a shooting guard like Michael Jordan. He knew we had these certain rules where we was going to force more Jordan one way, and he knew he had help. So it was student body left, student body right. We knew where he was going to get his help from. So he executed the game plan so well that it was just amazing. It was just easy basketball.
Yeah, what was that like to play alongside him in the backcourt?
No, it was great because he could contain the ball. And he was great on offensive scores, and as you can see, he was always outside. So Jordan was taller, Magic was taller, but we had a great defensive scheme. But his job and his main job was to make sure that he contained the dribbler, and he did a great job of doing that.
All right, now I'm going to flip the tables on you and ask you about the front court and what that defense was like there too, and if by some chance, and rarely, somebody got by you, what was going to happen?
Well, it was great because not only did you have protection in the backcourt, but they also were vocal. So when you think of football, you might think of a Ray Lewis who's always barking out orders. So we couldn't see what was behind us. So Mahorn and ll''𝟑𝟏, they would always tell us what was happening behind us. And for some reason, if somebody got by us, and sometimes we would let them get by us just to see what was getting ready to happen. Because, Mahorn and ll''𝟑𝟏, they were very physical back there, and they laid a lot of wood. But what they did to opponents psychologically, Rodman, Sally, ll''𝟑𝟏, Mahorn, psychologically, they only had to block one shot. They only had to foul you hard one time. And that hard foul would last for 2 months because it was spread across the league. And, so we mentally damaged opponents more so than we physically damaged opponents.
Yeah, and with Dennis, he was irritating. He was an irritating defender, an effective defender, but like you said, he got in the heads of opponents, did he not?
Yeah, our game was about mental. We were a mentally tough basketball team, and we believe that we can concentrate longer than you could. So we could concentrate 48 minutes, we can execute a game plan for 48 minutes, and we knew that that other team would eventually have a breakdown. And when I say 48 minutes, I mean basically a basketball game is 2 hours. Most teams could not concentrate that long for 2 hours.
And one thing about Rodman, though, sometimes you'd be on the weak side or you're on the strong side of the defense, and next thing you know, somebody will shoot a shot. And I remember Pat Ewing shot a shot, and ll''𝟑𝟏 and I were both on the strong side, and he came over from the weak side, and he blocked this shot. It was like, who was that? That was Big Man.
Yeah,
it wasn't Rodman or Worm. That was Big Man.
We called him the Big Man.
Big Man. He was a defensive specialist.
You touched on this a little bit, but I'd like you to go a little deeper about the Jordan rules. When you hear that term, people think they know what it is. What exactly were the Jordan rules?
Well, you know, Chuck Daly came up with the plan, and Brendan Sir as well. They came up with this plan that, hey, they ran that triangle offense. So it was just basically Joe staying with him everywhere, forcing him to go left, and knew that he had student body help. That's what the big key was, that he saw five blue shirts or 5 white shirts. He just saw that, and if he came in the lane, we was going to lay wood. And I mean, Jordan, hey, I'm sorry, but you came in the hole, you come down Piston lane, you had to pay the price.
And Isaiah, who might the team be most like those Pistons of old today? If there were an NBA evolution as far as a team and how they played Piston basketball, who might that be?
Well, ironically enough, it's the Bulls. And, you know, every team that we beat, they seem to take on our identity. And right now, the Chicago Bulls' identity is an old Piston identity. They defend, they rebound, they play tough in the hole, their bigs are tough. They guard the pick and roll just about as well as anybody. And when Derrick Rose is playing, they're centered around their guard productivity in terms of Rose. Now you got Nate Robinson, you got Deng, who's out on the perimeter, but their bigs are, you know, just as good as any bigs playing defensively and rebounding. So I look at this Bulls team, and I don't think anyone in the playoff relishes playing against them because of the way they defend and rebound.
The physicality.
Very physical. They do a great job of getting in your head as well, because Noah, I love the way he's always everywhere. Rebound, he hits you, he bangs you. Just love everything about what he does on the court.
It was fun to go back and
watch out.
Think about some of the. I told you flashback. I told you it's going to be a flashback.
The game's over.
Settle down, big fella.